Recently I've been playing Turtle WoW on the Steam Deck, and I ran into a small bug, which I eventually managed to fix. So I decided to make this video to explain what was going on. Right now, you can find quite a few tutorials online about playing vanilla WoW on the Steam Deck. The most well-known one is probably made by Ryak. The famous addon author Shagu also made a similar UI addon. And last year, I randomly came across a plugin made by a Chinese developer on Reddit, which is actually the one I'm using in this video. I've put the GitHub links to all three options in the video description. However, all three of these plugins run into the same exact problem. The bug I'm talking about here was actually noticed by Ryak, and he even mentioned it on GitHub. Basically, when you move the joystick, the mouse cursor will randomly pop up right in the center of the screen, and then immediately disappear. And every single time the cursor appears and disappears, you get a noticeable frame drop. From the very beginning of this video, what I'm showing you is the FPS drop caused by this exact bug. The reason this happens is that vanilla World of Warcraft doesn't have the modern WoW API. So most modern add-ons, including those that properly support controller input in retail WoW, simply don't work here. Because of that, on the Steam Deck we're forced to set the right stick to emulate a joystick mouse in the controller settings. And since a joystick mouse is still technically a mouse, the moment it detects any movement, the cursor appears, and then immediately disappears again. This is actually expected behavior. If you've played WoW before, you know that when you hold the right mouse button to turn your character, the cursor disappears as well. To work around this issue, there's a clever workaround. Instead of having the right stick emulate a mouse, we make it emulate a D-pad, and then map the D-pad directions to keyboard turning keys. Since pure keyboard input does not trigger any mouse behavior, this completely avoids the cursor popping in and out, and therefore avoids the FPS drops caused by that bug. So the first thing we do is map left and right on the right stick's D-pad to the A and D keys on the keyboard. Here's why this works. In World of Warcraft, there are two different ways to change your view. The first one is camera movement. Your character keeps facing forward, but the third-person camera rotates around them, like a 360-degree camera. The second one is facing direction. In this case, the character's facing direction changes, but the third-person camera stays fixed. With a keyboard, you control facing direction using A and D, combined with W to move forward and turn naturally. There is an important detail here. In vanilla WoW, vertical facing, looking up and down, is disabled. Except for flying or swimming, there is no option to control vertical pitch using the keyboard. That means the up and down directions on the D-pad still need another solution. In simple terms, while walking, you can only control looking up and down with the mouse, not with the keyboard. But if we let the right stick emulate a mouse again, the cursor problem comes right back. So the real question is how to control looking up and down using keyboard keys, and then map those keys to the right stick's up and down directions. This is where an old addon called SynCamera comes in. The idea behind SynCamera is very simple. It allows you to control the camera in all four directions using the keyboard. Here is the most confusing part. When your character is walking, left and right control facing direction, while up and down control the camera. But when you are flying or swimming, all four directions control facing. What we need to do is use this addon. I also made a few small modifications myself. I synced the camera speed in all four directions, because by default the vertical camera movement is much slower than horizontal. I also adjusted the addon version slightly to prevent errors. Next, in World of Warcraft's key bindings, we bind SynCamera up and down to the up and down arrow keys on the keyboard. Finally, in the Steam Deck controller settings, we set the right stick to emulate a D-pad. Up on the D-pad is mapped to the down arrow key with the Y-axis inverted. Down on the D-pad is mapped to the up arrow key. Left on the D-pad is mapped to the A key, which turns facing, not the camera. Right on the D-pad is mapped to the D key, same logic. As the final step, enable Smart Camera Follow in World of Warcraft, choose a speed you like, and the setup is complete.